Before this video starts, I just want to give a massive shout out to all my channel members. If you want to receive a shout out, then become a channel member today and you'll be shown on screen like all these other channel members here. Anyways, enjoy the video. On May 15th, version 14.4 dropped in the Japanese version and dropped on June 9th for the international versions. This update contains a lot of content, and I want to talk about everything that was added in this version. Since we have loads to cover, all I ask is if you enjoy this update analysis, then be sure to give it a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and comment what was the most exciting thing about this update was for you. Anyways, let's get into the new content. All the units discussed here will use their level 30 stats. The first new unit was a brand new Iron Legion, this being Grandiose Gunhauser. They have 102,000 health and deal 24,000 damage. This unit targets zombies and Aku and has a 50% chance to freeze Aku for 5 seconds or zombies for 6 seconds. They also cause an explosion and they are immune to Toxic and Surge, as well as having a Conjure. They're a fairly solid crowd control unit who is capable of freezing a wide group of Aku and zombies. His effective damage and DPS with explosion is extremely strong, being able to deal almost 50,000 damage between 390 to 465 range with 6.7k DPS. This gives them rather solid generalist use for an Uber who doesn't even need a true form. His crowd control potential is also amazing, and thanks to the explosion, it can reach further back targets like Zemel. Their immunities allow them to be a good option against Capicawano, and especially against Infernal Tyrant Niandam. They lack shield piercing, so support is needed to fully maximize their Aku targeting. The summon has both Z-Kill and Soul Strike, allowing it to be used as a way to kill a group of zombies and can pick off zombie corpses. Overall, a very solid anti-zombie and Aku unit that could work as a generalist with minimal investment. Then we have a brand new legend unit that was added. This is Master of Logic Mutant. For them, because they're such a late game unit, I'm going to focus on their level 50 stats. Mutant has a health stat of 75,600 and deals 59,000 damage. Though with this mini wave, it translates to 71,500 damage. This makes his effective DPS exactly 7,200. While to most units, this may seem average, but this is amazing on Mutant, specifically because of his 600 standing range. At this range, it allows Mutant to deal a massive amount of damage while being safe in the backline. While Lil Niandam was extremely weak, the one thing he did have going for him was his range, but now that there's a unit that's capable of dealing a large amount of damage and has competent bulk, this ends up leaving Lil Niandam in the dust. Also, to add on, Mutant has an Omni Strike, which pierces up to 900 range, ensuring he will always land his hits. He also slows against red and floating for 4.8 seconds, allowing him to stall the likes of Professor A and the Bun Bun variants with ease. He also has a summon, which should be used as a get off me tool as it has knockback, and due to Mutant's range, it effectively only has 50 piercing range. This also means that because of his 900 Omni Strike, his summon is unable to hit the base. He also has Sage Slayer, bumping his effective stats against them to 151,000 health and dealing 85,000 damage with 8.6k DPS. This makes him an extremely effective killer against most Sages, and Mutant serves as our first proper no Uber no limited Sorectis creep, but this is only the case when stored ZL drops. Overall, Mutant is easily one of the strongest legend units added due to his insane range and his amazing general stats. The last regular unit added this update is a new Neo Best of the Best unit, this being Blade Master Stall, a variant of Trixie the Revenant. He has Strong and has a 50% chance to slow Aku, Metal, and Zombies for 0.67 seconds or 0.8 seconds with treasures. He also has a 3% chance to crit with a 5% chance to pierce shields, a 30% chance to summon a mini wave, and immunities to freeze and surge. Stall is a very amazing unit against his 3 traits, as with his large base 119,000 health, this makes him extremely tanky against his traits, with an effective 238,000 health against Aku and 297,500 against Zombie and Metal. His mini wave is able to further boost his damage against his targets to even greater heights. Due to Cat Typhoon levels of attack rate, his low DPH gives him a stellar base 9,000 DPS. This is further boosted to 13,500 DPS and 16,500 DPS against his traits respectively. Despite his very low crit chance, the fact that he not only slows every metal he hits, his attack rate makes him fairly reliable in actually killing metals. He is also very effective at killing zombies, as most zombies are melee-based enemies, with only Cadaver Bear and Old Stritch giving him any sort of trouble. His effectiveness against these two traits even allows him to basically solo march to death at level 30. Last is his Aku targeting, which allows him to be a very effective Aku attacker, and again, despite having a 5% chance to pierce shields, due to just how fast he attacks, he can reliably pierce shields with little to no issues. A boosted stall can be useful against every single malevolent boss except Dark due to the lack of curse immunity. His surge immunity helps counter all the surges Akus like to vomit out. Overall, an extremely powerful counter against metals, zombies, and Akus that allows him to be very useful against these three traits. In this update, a brand new collab was added, this being with Sonic the Hedgehog. I suppose the best unit to start off with is the titular Hedgehog himself. Sonic is an anti-angel rusher unit who deals an effective 142,000 damage against them. He also has knockback and will slow angels for 2.4 seconds and comes packed with slow and freeze immunity. While he's rather frail like most rushers, his damage is capable of chunking most angels in a single hit. His knockback and slow helps prevent him from instantly getting killed by an angel who doesn't get naturally knocked back, giving him a small semblance of survivability. Being true to being the fastest thing alive, Sonic, along with another unit, now have become the fastest units in the game with the speed stat of 95. A solid angel rusher who's good at their job. Then we have Tails, who is an LD unit who has a 75% chance to weaken and curse red and alien enemies for 6 seconds, while also causing explosions. Tails' base damage is a rather small 12,750, with the explosion boosting it to 25,000 damage or 3.1k DPS in his peak area of 365 to 515 range. His weaken is able to make many red enemies much easier to handle, as red is a more damage-based trait, while curse helps against aliens, as they're more of a crowd control-based trait. While his crowd control is great for most of the game, the 75% chance to activate can leave him being somewhat inconsistent, especially for red enemies, as his curse doesn't have a lot of use outside of preventing Professor A from slowing and disabling red energy knockback. His use against aliens will be more worthwhile, as his multiple abilities can make Tails a lot more supportive against aliens, as either one effect going off is near guaranteed. However, in terms of pure offensive power, Tails as a unit should not be your primary source of damage, as his damage output is extremely low compared to most LD options, even after factoring his explosion. Solid crowd control, but rather weak damage output. Knuckles is a solid anti-red and zombie bruiser unit. He is strong against them, giving him an effective 191,000 health against them with 14,000 effective DPS, though his damage is a little bit unstable due to his multi-hit. Knuckles also carries immunities to Wave and Weaken. This allows Knuckles to be a solid counter to Hanya and Berserkari, but outside of these two enemies, his immunities are just meant to help make his generalist usage a little stronger. Knuckles is also fairly cheap for an Uber, only costing 2,550 to send out, allowing him to be a useful budget option against red and zombie stages. Knuckles also has a slight Omni Strike, though this is mainly meant to help him more easily strike his mid-range targets. Fairly solid red zombie rusher who wears down enemies long term. The last Uber is the ultimate life form, Shadow. Shadow is a lot like Super Galaxy Cosmo in the sense that they have extremely high speed. In fact, Shadow is tied with Sonic at 95, but has a really high standing range of 520. While Shadow's base damage may seem weak, Shadow deals massive damage against black and zombie enemies, letting him deal 31,000 damage with 18,000 DPS, with immunities to slow and toxic. Shadow is a rather strong backliner unit, being able to hack away at many enemies. Against black enemies, his usage is a bit weaker, as Shadow will constantly juggle most enemies, save for Bum Bum Black and Lenoir. He has a better matchup against zombies, as zombies tend to have way less knockbacks. His toxic immunity also allows Shadow to be an excellent Zolo killer, as he can easily sweep a whole field of them. He is also useful for Big Peng Z, as he can nuke the penguin rather quickly, as well as help deal with the black support, and even possibly help with the Professor A. However, his high speed is a double-edged sword, as it can easily lead him to getting himself killed if this isn't played around. Stages with a higher density of enemies can prevent this. Overall, a very solid rusher that is somewhat high risk, high reward. Sonic Cat has two different uses depending on his form. First form is an anti-alien attacker, dealing 12,000 damage against aliens. However, his low general stats prevent him from being able to score more than one hit, and his speed is too low to even ensure he can land that hit all the time. Sonic Cat CC is an alien tank with warp immunity, having 51,000 health. However, considering Catalite is able to perform the role of an alien tank way better due to damage, cost, and cooldown, Sonic Cat CC is wholly outclassed. Tails Cat is an incredibly niche LD Angel Slower, being able to slow them for 2.4 seconds. Being a single target unit, he faces a ton of competition for Angel CC. The main use you can get out of him is against Saint Dober and Sleipnir. Last is Shadow Cat, who is actually a fairly competent anti-metal meat shield, sporting 68,000 effective health. In comparison to Future Cat, at the same level, they have 77,000 effective health, but due to Shadow's higher base health, it's easier to bring him in mixed stages. These two work amazing with each other, but if you could only bring one, it would depend on the stage makeup. While in heavier metal and relic stages, Future is the better option due to better cost and effective health. Shadow could be used more easily in mixed stages due to cooldown and higher base HP. Fun fact, Shadow Cat at level 50 plus 8 is able to have more effective health against metal than Future. This update sees the addition of two new true forms. The first being Brass Cat, the true form for Komuso Cat. They gain a 113% boost to health, a speed increase from 7 to 12, a 50% chance for a level 2 mini-wave, and a boost to their shield piercing chance to 60%. Before their true form, Komuso was way too weak of an anti-Aku and shield piercer to be worth using by the time you can actually get them, as solid shield piercers like Cat Researcher and Supercar will probably be used over them. However, the true form does fix them quite a bit, making them able to stand out as a shield piercer and giving them opportunities to use their unique kit. The biggest of these is their mini-wave, which allows them to spread their weaken across a wide range of Aku enemies. Their mini-wave and shield piercing activating at the same time is a 30% chance, which is fine enough to pierce further back shields. The biggest application this has is on Heinous Road, which basically demands you pierce Malevolent Flying Shield, otherwise you lose. Them being way faster and being able to more consistently land hits the barrel in this situation allows much more Heinous Road attempts to even continue in the first place. While you probably won't use them as your main shield piercer, they have been given enough buffs to where they can work in some situations. The second true form is Almighty Asset. They gain a 30% boost in health, a 10% boost to their attack, a range buff to 350, increased wave level to level 3, and immunities to freeze and toxic. Her boost in health now gives her a health stat of 156,000 HP, or an effective 224,000 health against Colossus enemies, while the attack boost gives her an effective 15,700 damage with 7.7k DPS, or 25,000 damage against Colossus and 12,000 DPS against them. Post-strengthen boosts these numbers further to an effective 23,500 damage with 11,000 DPS, or 37,000 damage with 18,000 DPS against Colossus enemies. The simple boosted damage and range allows a set to more effectively be used as a peon sweeper, and the damage output is good enough for many mid-range enemies. Her range boost also helps her survivability even further outside of the large health boost by virtue of being able to keep her safe for longer. Her gaining toxic and freeze immunities makes her an excellent counter to Big Pang Z and Omens. The former deals very weak damage outside of toxic, and for the latter, a set can just shrug off the surge damage and use Johnny Leon as a stepping stone to let her deal massive amounts of damage. She is also fairly usable against Baron Seal, XL, and Megamuth, but will face some issues. Every other Colossus boss is fairly difficult to get value out of, especially against Legrim and Zero Luza. If you want to get this true form, it costs 1 epic cat fruit seed and 5 yellow cat fruits. This update sees the addition of one Ultra form, this being Ultimate Thundia. In Ultra form, she gains a 26% health boost, 20 extra standing range, 5 speed, a guaranteed survive, a slightly faster cooldown, and immunities to slow and weaken, as well as a split LD attack that targets from 1 to 461 and 460 to 920 range. Thundia gains quite a bit of survivability due to her boost in health and survive. However, the real treat is the fact that her split LD makes her into a crazy powerful anti-red and fairly solid generalist. The initial hit still deals the same 129,000 damage, with the second hit dealing 64,000 damage. Thundia's attack animation is enough time in between the two hits, in which if an enemy is knocked back by the first hit, they will get hit by the second one. In total, this lets her deal an effective 194,000 damage, or 776,000 damage against red enemies. With talents and post-strengthen, this damage can go up to 349,000 damage, or 1.4 million damage against red enemies. Pretty much every single red enemy gets turned into mincemeat, and most other enemies will get chunked by her two hits. Her immunity is a slow helper against Professor A, and her weakened immunity helps against Hanya. However, is she worth the Dark Cat's eyes? Considering the wide range of red counters that exist in this game, it's more of a matter of how much you love overkill. If you want to go really overkill, then this Ultra form is worth it, but if you think her third form or other red counters you have are satisfactory, then you could probably pass on her. In order to get her Ultra form, she needs 2 red behemoth gems, 10 green behemoth stones, and a golden cat fruit. One unit gains talents this update, this being Devil Hunter Satoru. He gains Survive, Curse Immunity, and Knockback Immunity alongside standard stat talents. Satoru's talents are not great to say the least. Survive can give him flexibility in some stages, but if Satoru is taking enough damage to where he can die, he's most likely gonna get killed right after due to his Law and Force Swing and LD. Even then, Satoru has a fairly fast cooldown, which can allow you to easily get another Satoru out. Curse immunity isn't all too helpful either, as the only Aku that can curse is Malevolent Dark, but if you have good defenses, then Satoru shouldn't be getting hit at all. Last is Knockback immunity, which for Aku matchups is only good for Diabrolo, but considering Diabrolo is a fairly weak but fast supporting enemy, countering them with Satoru isn't the play at all. All of his talents can easily be skipped. One unit gains Ultra talents this update, this being for Paladin Cat. He gains an extra 10% crit chance, a 30% chance to dodge metals for 2.4 seconds, and double bounty. An extra 10% crit chance is not worth the NP and Dark Cat size on a unit like Paladin, and dodge against metal isn't great either, seeing as metals are rarely the only trait present. The only Ultra talent that could be of any value is double bounty, but this alone isn't worth spending Dark Cat size on Paladin. There are 5 new enemies added this update, with only one of them being a non-Sonic enemy. Just as we got a new Legend unit, we also have their enemy counterpart in Sage of Logic Newton. They're a red Sage enemy. Newton stands at 700 range with an Omni Strike that stretches from -300 to 1500 range, which deals 190,000 damage before the mini wave. He also slows any unit that survives for 4 seconds and will strike it to 285,000 damage when below half health before the mini wave. He also sports 2 million health and 8 knockbacks. Sonic is a rusher enemy with slight Omni Strike, as well as a 100% chance to knock back and slow units for 2 seconds, as well as being immune to slow and freeze. Tails is an LD floating enemy that creates an explosion and has a 50% chance to weaken units for 3 seconds. Knuckles is a fairly tanky red enemy that is immune to waves and weaken, while having multi-hit and slight Omni Strike. Shadow is the gauntlet boss of the collab and is a black enemy. He will constantly fire off his attacks and has a high standing range of 500 with a 550 Omni Strike. He is also immune to slow. The new Zero Legend subchapter added is Truce Devouring Maw. Intellectual Pursuit has Dogenstein, Professor Alberly, Mr. Mur, Tarsiriel, and Angelic Sleipnir. Logical Loneliness has Haniwanwan, Aku Doge, Devil Wife, Diabrolo, Bun Bun Symbiote, Shachiko, and Old Horn. Newton's Fruit features the Doge Base, Tekken Old Hyena, and Professor A. Divided Light features Doge Dark, Lil Doge, Rain D, Dark Otter, Director Kurosawa, Lil Boar, and Taki. No Hypothesis has Ultra Baba, Zrocco, General Grigori, Zangru, Yukan, Lord Gravy, and Shy Boy. Last is Immeasurable Power, the titular boss stage for Sage of Logic Newton. He is supported by Squirrels, Mr. Angels, Angelic Gories, and Lil Bun Buns. Since Komoso had gotten a true form, there is of course a revenge stage map to go with it. The restriction is special and uber rare units. Legend rares cannot be used either. Symphony of Bankruptcy is the revenge stage. Possessed Empress is supported by Jackie Pangs, Condemned Pangs, Akapi, Sinner Snitches, a Midnight D, and Master Ray. As there are new Sonic enemies, there are stages that accompany each enemy. The strongest Sonic stage features Master Ray, Croco, Jackie Pang, Cercile, and Teacher Bear. The strongest Tails stage features Doge Dark, Albrolo, Dark Otter, Bum Bum Black, and Lenoir. The strongest Knuckles stage features Gabriel, Angelic Gory, and Sleipnir. There is also a bonus stage that gives a random amount of XP upon clear. Then there's the Shadow Gauntlet. The first 10 stages feature BB Bunny, Cercile, One Horn, and Muth. On screen are the rewards for the first 10 stages. The next 10 stages feature Gabriel, Heavenly Hippo, Zoj, Angelic Gory, Zangru, and Zerziel. Here are the rewards for these next 10 stages. This update sees the addition of 2 new Otherworld Coliseum maps. The first is a new rule that puts every unit and enemy with at least 1 speed to 12 speed. This makes things like Brawlo and Yukimura sluggish, while the Face and Pizza become very speedy. However, units like Mamaland Passaland will still sit at the base due to having 0 speed. Round 1 features Doge Dark, Brawlo, the Face, Razorback, Lil Bun Bun, Taki, and Lenoir. Round 2 features those guys, Mr. Angel, Angelic Gory, Dober PD, Shadowboxer K, Shibanel, and the Sloth. Round 3 features Metal Hippo, Squirrel, Surrel, Autumn, Cumulus Gallus, Old Horn, and Metal One Horn. Clearing the stage on both 1-star and 2-star nets a rare ticket each in the Missions tab. Round 4 features Gabriel, One Horn, Dark Emperor Niandem, Inferno Pegasus Dionel, and Alpaki. Round 5 features Ms. Devils, Wild Doge, Moth, the Faliverin, Papau, Kangaroo, and Rain D. Clearing the stage on 1-star grants 2 Platinum Shards, and on 2 stars grants a Dark Cat's Eye through the Missions tab. There's also a new condition that's similar to the Uber Duplication, or +1 Uber, this being +1 Special. Similar to that challenge, this Coliseum will duplicate any special unit that is spawned after 2 seconds, and units with summon will also be duplicated, and when their summon is used, both of them will activate at the same time. Round 1 consists of Muth, JJ Jackrabbit, Dark Otter, Shy Boy, Cappy, Bum Bum Black, and JK Bun Bun. Round 2 consists of Crocinator, Zrocco, Metal Doge, Zoj, Metal One Horn, Zangru, Sir Metal Seal, and Zerzeal. Round 3 consists of Ultra Baba, Doge Dark, Gory Black, Yukan, General Gugori, and Razorback. Clearing the stage on both 1-star and 2-star nets a rare ticket each in the Missions tab. Round 4 is made up of Dakshan, Relic Doge, Sorrel, Dober PD, Boar Jr., Autumn, and Emost. Round 5 is made up of Coffin Zoj, The Thrillers, Ziggy, Lil Zyklone, Dreadbore, Old Horn, and Loki. Clearing this stage on 1-star grants 2 Platinum Shards, and on 2-star grants a Dark Cat's Eye through the Missions tab. For the first of these miscellaneous changes and additions, the visual for the 3rd explosion is smaller, but mechanically, this changes nothing. 4 brand new music tracks were added for the Sonic collab, these being Lost Valley and Network Terminal from Sonic Forces, as well as Sky Sanctuary Zone and Radical Highway Zone from Sonic Generations. 1 new cat combo has been added, this being Steel Tennis with Takachi and Racket Cat. This is a speed medium combo. A new Meow Medal is added for unlocking Master of Logic Newton, called Newton. Last are the brand new user rank rewards. User rank 24,900 nets 5 Catabid C, 25,100 nets 5 Special Cat's Eyes, 25,200 nets 5 Rare Cat's Eyes, and user rank 30,000 nets a Legend ticket. The Bikuramid content has not been found in the game files. The Sonic content has also not been added into this version. This is most likely due to the Korean and Taiwanese version celebrating their anniversary. However, the English version does get a brand new event in the Road to Unification. This event was originally used as the 12th anniversary event in the Japanese version, but in the English version, it's been turned into an unrelated event. For more information about the event itself and the enemies present, check out my video about version 14.0 that goes more in depth about this event. Most of the meat in this update is Sonic stuff, though seeing as other versions have anniversary events, they probably don't want to throw Sonic into the mix, but outside of that, Mutant is easily the highlight of this update, as this guy is an insanely powerful unit that can fit into most lineups and will make Stardew Well way easier for most people. But I want to know what you guys think of this update. Let me know in the comments down below, and while you're down there, be sure to subscribe to the channel and like the video, as this lets me know that this is the sort of content I should continue to make. Also, shout out to the following channel members: Dr. Deadly, Gamet, Ian Dean, Ninja Stars, Virus El Perro, Justice Shark, Potato King, Chorus, Gross Cat the Best, and Tentacle Gaming for being silver members or higher. If you want to receive a shout out like these channel members here, then become a silver member or higher today. Becoming a channel member supports what I do in a way that helps keep the lights on, and channel members receive an exclusive role on my Discord server, for which you can find a link to in the description down below. Anyways, I hope you have a wonderful day.